Hey, I'm Dr. Megan Pickens, your HABW coach and therapist, and I want to say that for a lot of high achieving Black women, guilt shows up when you stop being convenient. Um, you may feel that way because that has been taught to you. That's something that you learned from the past. And it goes along with boundary setting. And so a lot of times people don't set boundaries and they spend so much time worried about what happens if they set the boundaries, or they're upset when they don't set the boundaries. So they're mad at people and people don't even know they're mad at them because they don't know they're stepping on the boundaries. But in the past, you were rewarded for your flexibility and your reliability. Um, Sorry, y'all. This new headphone thing is kind of itching. Saying yes kept things smooth and predictable. It had everybody happy, except for maybe you. Accommodation became part of how you stayed and felt valued. It's not just about you staying that way, but the way that you felt when that happened. And so saying no often disrupts expectations that you did not create. And people don't like it. I talk about boundaries a lot with my clients. And one thing I will say is that people like boundaries until they apply to them. And so as soon as you start setting a boundary and something does not benefit a person, then they can be upset about it. They often introduce friction into a relationship that you didn't even know had friction because you were doing everything and you were agreeable, so it wasn't a problem. And that's not even just externally; that's internally. You're feeling bad about setting boundaries, even though you needed to know they needed to happen, and you may feel responsible for people's discomfort when you do set those boundaries, but you're not responsible. People are responsible for their own comfort, and especially when it comes to you giving more than you're receiving, it's not fair to you. And I sometimes one of the ways I help my clients and people look at the way that they're acting is I have them step outside of themselves. So I might say, if this was your child or your mom or your friend, would it be okay for them to be treated like that? And 100% of the time they're saying no. I would tell them, don't do that. Don't treat my baby like that. Don't treat my mom like that. How dare you? And I say, well, why doesn't the same thing apply for you? Think about that. When it comes to self care, are you okay with things being harmful to you, but not to other people? And don't get me wrong, a lot of people feel guilty about setting boundaries, especially with family. I believe family is the hardest to set boundaries with. But your guilt doesn't mean the boundary is wrong. It just means it's different. Although people might want to make you feel guilty or be angry about it, just know that it's not wrong to take care of yourself. It really means that the pattern is shifting, something is changing, and it could be changing for the better. Because as I said earlier, setting a boundary can improve a relationship as much as it can destroy a relationship. And I wouldn't even consider it destroying because if a relationship is predicated on you giving all the time and never receiving, then what kind of relationship is it really? And that goes for friends, family, and love. Um, Learning to tolerate guilt is part of the growth. And one of the things I tell my clients is, when you start setting those boundaries and people honor them, it's going to start feeling good to you, and you're not going to want to stop. You're not going to want to stop doing it. So keep that in mind. If saying no feels heavier than it should, you are not a match for this.